Have you ever wondered how the rich get richer? It has nothing to do with privilege or equality. What's up, YouTube? Brad here from Next Level Living, and today we're going to extract a principle from the water cycle that the rich use to get richer. Let's start off with a scripture, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 7. It says, "All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again." So let's draw out the water cycle and take a look. So here we have the water cycle, and the first phase, the sea holds all the water, and it evaporates into the air and then condenses to form clouds. And then when enough moisture collects in the clouds, the gravity from Earth pulls the water down to the Earth via precipitation. And then it collects in lakes and rivers, but the verse says all the rivers flow back to the sea, yet the sea is not full. What I want you to notice here is that no single phase holds any of the water for itself. It passes it on to the next phase, which keeps the cycle going. What is a river? A river is a flowing collection of water. What is a lake? A lake is a non-flowing collection of water. So what? Here's the principle that the wealthy use to get wealthy. They understand the principle of flow, and specifically cash flow. Just like water flows in the water cycle, so money flows in a cycle, and the rich capitalize on that. Let's draw out the wealth cycle. All right, so just like the water cycle, here we have the wealth cycle. Just like water flows, and each phase passes it on to the next phase, same with the cash flow. Each phase passes it on to the next phase, and it continues in this cycle. Instead of the water or the sea, we have an asset pool. The asset pool gives off dollars in the form of reproducing or duplicating itself, which then compounds into this big cash machine that then rains down income in a person's life, or the rich person's life. It then collects, and instead of just collecting it and letting it stagnate, they send it back to the asset pool where it can undergo more reproduction, compounding, bring in more income, and so forth. The cycle repeats. I want you to notice here, there are no lakes in the wealth cycle. Maybe a tiny one, but that's not the prominent thing. Only rivers, because rivers flow. Lakes do not flow. Just as a side note, there are only lakes in the poor cycle, no rivers. I want you to notice three things that are missing from the wealth cycle, and they're also missing from the water cycle. The first one is no privilege. There's no privilege in this picture here. Just like this tree receives the same precipitation that the mountain does, it's the same in the rich person's wealth cycle. They're not rich because they're more privileged than some other human. There's no equality or inequality. They're not better than somebody else, and that's why they're rich. No, they understand this principle of flow that the majority of people do not. There's one other thing here that is not in the picture, and that is no paycheck. Society is addicted to a paycheck, and if you're addicted to a paycheck or think you need a paycheck, you are not in this cycle. The wealth cycle is not where you're at. Your money is not flowing. It's not reproducing. It's not compounding, and it's not generating income for you. The income you do get, you're collecting and just holding on to it. You're not sending it out to the asset pool. So this is one principle the rich use to get richer, the principle of flow. Just like the water cycle, came right out of scripture. I'm going to do a video on another principle that the rich use, and it has to do with their mindset or their thinking, how it differs from the poor and the middle class. And I'm going to do another video on the assets that the rich use that the poor and middle class do not. These are assets that reproduce, compound, and produce income. The poor and middle class use what they think are assets, but they're actually liabilities, and reality, the poor and middle class's liabilities are the assets of the rich. So make sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with the next level principles.